Hello everyone. Welcome to the session of Structural Organization in Animals, NCERT Exemplar. Disclaimer. So learning objective, today's session learning objective to practice and master the core concept covered in the NCERT Exemplar through problem solving. And today's index part, multiple choice questions. So there will be question number 1 to 5 that are multiple choice questions. Very short answer type question, that is from question number 1 to question number 8. Short answer type question 1 to 10. And there will be long answer type question, that is question number 1 and question number 2. So let us start today's session with the first question. Which one of the following types of a cell is involved in making of the inner walls of large blood vessels? This question is from NCERT section 7.1 and options for these questions are as follows. A. Cuboidal epithelium. B. Columnar epithelium. C. Squamous epithelium. And option D says stratified epithelium, right? Let us see the answer of this question. So the answer is C option, squamous epithelium, right? Squamous epithelium. Let us see the explanation part. Epithelium is the tissue covering the external and internal exposed lining of the body cavity. So please remember this particular line. They are present where the epithelial tissue are present. They are present. This epithelial tissue is present as a external lining of the body cavity as well as the internal exposed lining, right? Blood vessels, lymph vessels, glands and their ducts are derived from the epithelium. Okay, every blood vessels, also the lymph vessels, different glands that are present inside the body and the ducts. There are many ducts. Tube-like structure are called as ducts. Like one you remember from the gallbladder and pancreas, there comes a tube-like structure that joins to the duodenum, right? So that is a duct-like structure. So they are also derived from the epithelium. And epithelium, they are triplet in origin: ectoderm, skin and epidermis. Mesoderm, that is made peritoneum. Peritoneum is also the epithelium. And endoderm, gut epithelium is made by the endoderm. So epithelial layer is made by all the three types of germinal layer. The three germinal layers are ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm. So skin is made by the ectoderm, right? And mesoderm, that is made by the peritoneum, and endoderm, that is made by the gut epithelium. Squamous epithelium lines the blood vessels. So if you see the internal lining of the blood vessels, they are made up of squamous epithelium. Why it is having the squamous epithelium? Because earlier they were saying that epithelium. Now they are saying that the blood vessel lining is made up of the squamous epithelium. Why? Because this epithelium is very, very thin and exchange of gases could occur through the thin epithelial tissue, right? So specifically, they are of simple squamous epithelium type, right? These cells are flat and scale-like, very thin, and forms a single layer that is called as endothelium. So if you see the lining of this blood vessel, it must be written everywhere that it is the endothelium lining or endothelium layer of cells. So this endothelium layer of cell is made up of squamous epithelium. Here you can see this is the flattened cell that makes the cell very, very thin, right? And this is the squamous epithelium that is present in the internal lining of the blood vessels. Next question. Which one of the following categories does adipose tissue belong? Let us see the option. A. Epithelial, B. Connective, C. Muscular, and D. Neural. Let us see the answer of this question. Answer is B. Connective tissue. Adipose tissue is a connective tissue mainly beneath the skin. Mainly beneath the skin means they are present just below the skin, right? And these are the cell that store the fat as fat globules. Adipose tissue stores the fat globules. Epithelial tissue, they forms the single layer of cells on the basement membrane. There is a basement membrane and this basement membrane is not cellular, right? And the epithelial tissue is resting or placed on this basement membrane only. Muscular tissue has contractibility with a long muscle fibers. They are having the contraction capability that they can contract and relax because of the presence of muscle fibers. And neural tissue has a neurons that transmit the signal via neurotransmitter, that is through the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. So here you can see the different types of connective tissue. Dense connective tissue, adipose tissue, that is a type of connective tissue. Areolar tissue, that is also a type of connective tissue. And we are having a very special type of connective tissue, that is the compact bone. Bone is also a type of connective tissue, and blood, that is called as fluid connective tissue, right? Next question. Which one of the following is not a connective tissue? Let us see the option. This question is from the NCERT section 7.1. A. Bone, B. Cartilage, C. Blood, and D. Muscles. Not a connective tissue, right? So correct answer is option D. Option D, muscles. Muscles is not a connective tissue. It is composed of a long cylindrical, numerous fine fibrils that is called as myofibrils. We are having a separate tissue, muscular tissue, right? We are having a separate tissue as a muscular tissue. Bone is a solid, rigid connective tissue. Just now we have seen the figure also, right? In the previous question. Blood is also a type of fluid connective tissue. And cartilage, it is a solid but semi-rigid and flexible connective tissue. It is a type of connective tissue, cartilage, right? Next question. This is a match the column type of question that comes from the NCERT section 7.1. So let us see the question first. Column 1, A. Adipose tissue, B. Stratified epithelium, C. Haline cartilage, and D. Fluid connective tissue. And what are the items given in the column 2? First, nose. Second, blood. Third, skin. And fourth, fat storage. So you have to match accordingly, and according to your match, you have to choose the correct option A, B, C, D out of this, right? So let us see the answer of this question. The correct answer is option B. Yes, option B is correct. Let us see the explanation part. Connective tissue are highly diverse and the multiple functions. And their consistency varies from soft areolar tissue to the hard bone. There are some soft type of areolar tissue and there are some hard like bones also. So they connect organ and help in protection, secretion and absorption, right? So these connective tissue, they are helping in the process of protection, secretion and absorption. Now this is the correct match. Adipose tissue, that is the meant for the fat storage. So A is matching with the fourth. Stratified epithelium, it is matches with the third, skin. Haline cartilage, that is present on the nose, first. And fluid connective tissue, that is the blood, second. Adipose tissue is specialized for the fat storage in the body. So wherever the adipose tissue it is there, the fat globules can store in it. Stratified epithelium, it is found in the skin and that provide protection. Haline cartilage, they are present on the nose and provide the structural support to the nose. And the blood, that is also called as a fluid connective tissue, help the circulation of nutrients, oxygen along with the blood. Next question. Match the following and choose the correct option. This is again a match the column type of question. Let us see what are the items given in the column 1 and column 2. Column 1, A, touch, B, smell, C, cranial nerves, D, medulla oblongata. And column 2, first, nasal epithelium, second, foramen magnum, third, sensory papillae, and fourth, peripheral nervous system. So you have to do the matching between the items given in the column 1 and column 2, and accordingly you have to select the option. This question is from NCERT section 7.2.1. Let us see the answer. The answer is option D. So this is the correct match. Touch. Touch is related to the sensory papillae which is present on the skin. So A is matches with the third. B, smell. Smell, we are having the nasal epithelium inside the nostrils, right? So that is related to the smell, to have a sense of smell. So B is matching with the 1. Cranial nerves. Cranial nerves, they are the peripheral nervous system, part of the peripheral nervous system. The nerves that originate from the brain that are called as cranial nerves. And these cranial nerves actually the part of the peripheral nervous system. So C is matching with the 4. And medulla oblongata, second, foramen magnum. So this is the correct matching. Sensory papillae detect the touch sensation that is present on the skin. Nasal epithelium in nose cavity enable the sense of smell. And cranial nerves, they are part of the peripheral nerves emerging from the brain and the brainstem. Spinal cord also, from the spinal cord also, many nerves originate that becomes the part of the peripheral nervous system along with the cranial nerves. Medulla oblongata extend to the foramen magnum, that is the opening of the skull region. This foramen magnum allows the spinal cord to connect with the brain. Very short answer type of question. Identify the sex of a frog in which sound producing vocal sacs are present. So let us see the answer. Male frog possesses the vocal sac. Yes, vocal sac is present only in the male frog. And why they are having this vocal sac? So that they can produce the cracking sound in the rainy season. And that is helpful for them to attract the female for the process of reproduction. Vocal sacs are elastic membrane near the neck region, and these sacs amplify the mating calls or the cracking sounds. Male uses these calls to attract the female during the breeding season. And you can see here the picture of the vocal cord, right? With the help of this, they are producing the sound, right? Next question. Name the process by which the tadpole develops into an adult frog. This question is coming from the NCERT section 7.2.2. Let us see the answer of this question. Metamorphosis involve the physical change in the form of structure during the growth. So this is a phenomena which tells you that the physical change occurring inside the organism, right? The larva, actually you see this in the case of insect as well as in the case of some amphibians like frog. So here what happens when there is a formation of larva, the larva is the one that doesn't look actually like the is adult form. Like here in the case of frog, we are having the tadpole larva, but tadpole larva doesn't look like the adult frog, right? So there is a many change in the tadpole larva that leads to the formation of the adult frog. So by this metamorphosis process only, the changes are occurring inside the tadpole larva. Metamorphosis occur in both lower vertebrates and invertebrates during the development. If we talk about the lower vertebrates, right, and invertebrates. So lower vertebrates, we are having the frog, and invertebrates. Invertebrate, we see the insects, butterfly, for example. Answer. The process of tadpole to frog development is called as metamorphosis. So here you can see, this is the tadpole, and tadpole within the 2-3 days, the hind legs comes out, and slowly its tails become shorter. Not only the hind limbs develop properly, its forelimbs also comes out, and the tail region becomes more shorter. And slowly what happen? The gills which is present in the tadpole, they disappear, and instead of that, lungs develop inside their internal body. So later on it changes to the adult frog. Next question. A muscle fiber taper at both the end and does not show striations. Name the muscle fiber. No striations, no marking are present, and they are tapering at both the end. So you have to tell the name of the muscle fiber. This question is coming from the NCERT section 7.1. Let us see the answer. Smooth muscle fiber taper at both the ends. They tapers at both the ends, fusiform, and do not show striations. No marking is there. So they are also called involuntary muscles. They are not working in our body according to our permission. Your skeletal muscles orders follow the orders by our body. Like when we want to stand, we can stand. When we want to run, we can run, right? So they are in our control. But this smooth muscles or unstriated muscles are not in our control, and that is why they are called as involuntary muscles. So here you can see striated muscle. So you can differentiate that. These are the cylindrical cells, fibers, and you can see a lot of striations marking on the skeletal muscles. But see the structure of the striated muscle. They are tapering at both the ends, right? They are like boat shape. And in the center region, they are dilated where the nucleus is present. But there is no striation marking on this smooth muscles, right? And they are where they are present? They are present, for example, they are present in our alimentary canal. We never know whether when we eat the food and we know that the food is in our mouth. But once we swallow the bolus form, the round ball-like structure of the food that passes through the esophagus, through the peristalsis movement, we never know whether the food is in the stomach. We never know whether the food passes, how it is passing through the small intestine, how it is going in the large intestine, right? Because it is not in our control, and their lining is made by this non-striated smooth muscles, right? Okay, let us move to the next question. Name the different cell junction found in the tissue. This question is coming from the NCERT section 7.1. cell junctions? Let us see the answer. Different cell junction found in the tissue are tight junction, that is also called as zona occludens. Zona occludens. And they form the tight seal between the cells. So there is one cell, adjacent to it there is another cell. So there is a connection between these two cells. They are tightly packed, and then only they are able to form the tissue. Without these junction, the cell cannot make the tissue, right? So what are the different junction? The number one is tight junction, and this is a tight sealing between the cells. Prevent molecular passage between the cell. You do not allow the passage for the molecule from one cell to the another, right? One type of junction, tight junction. Second, anchoring junction, desmosomes and adherence junction. This is the another like name you can say for the anchoring junction, and they connect the cell mechanically, right? You can see here the figure that is showing the tight junction. The tight junction is present here. Adherence junction, this blue color. And there is a desmosomes and there is a gap junction. So from the gap junction, you can see the molecules can be passed from one cell to the another. And at the base, you can see they are again having this adherence junction and this desmosomes. The different cell junction found in the tissues are. Next is the gap junction, that is also called as communicating junction. Means the communication is occurring through this junction between one cell to the another, and they allow the direct communication. Permit small molecules transfer between the cells. So they allow the smaller molecule that could pass from one cell to the another, right? So they are the type of junction, or you can say the junction that allow the communication. So this is the gap junction. Give two identifying features of an adult male frog. You can identify that feature in the adult male frog. This question is coming from the NCERT section 7.2.1. Let us see what we see very special feature in the case of male frog. So the two identifying features of an adult male frog are as follows. Vocal sacs. Yes, vocal sacs. Where it is located? It is located at the throat region. Throat region. And what is characteristic? Loose skin fold. This vocal sac is having the loose skin fold that allow, if it is loose, then only the air could get filled in it and they can produce the sound. What is the function? Use for louder croaking sound, or you can say produce the croaking sound simply. Nuptial pads. Nuptial pad, they are present on the first digit of the forelimb. In the forelimb, how many digits are present? 4 digits are present. So the first digit will have this swelling like things or a pad like things, and that is called as nuptial pad. What is the characteristic? Copulatory pad. Why it is called copulatory pads? Because it is helping in the process of copulation. The male holds the female frog very tightly from the back, right? And this nuptial pad is helping for the grasping to this female frog from the back. So help grip female during the mating time. These are the two features that we see only and only in the case of male frog. So here you can see the diagram. This is the vocal sac present at the throat, that is below the lower region of the throat, and you can see the nuptial pad, the swelling region at the first digit of the male frog. Next question. The digestive system of a frog is made up of the following parts. Arrange them in an order beginning from the mouth. So, what is the organ given here? We have to arrange according to they are following for the digestive system. Mouth, esophagus, buccal cavity, stomach, intestine, cloaca, rectum, cloacal aperture. Right? This question is coming from the NCERT section 7.2.2. Let us see the answer of this question. The correct arrangement of the parts of the digestive system in the frog is as follows. Mouth. Okay, mouth is the opening, and mouth leads to the cavity that is made by the upper jaw and the lower jaw, and that forms the buccal cavity. The buccal cavity leads to the esophagus, a small tube that connects the pharynx to the stomach. Okay, so esophagus leads to the stomach. From the stomach, the food passes to the intestine. Here, the small intestine and large intestine, it is simply written as intestine, right? And if you see the diagram that is given in the NCERT, there also it is marked only intestine, not as a small intestine or a large intestine. Whereas the small intestine can be divided into the two parts, duodenum and ileum. Okay, anyway, the intestine leads to the rectum, and rectum leads to a very important chamber that is called as cloaca. Okay, and cloaca opens to the external environment through an aperture that is called as cloacal aperture. So here you can see that same diagram. You can see esophagus. Okay, there is a stomach, then intestine, then leads to the rectum. There is a cloaca, and the opening is called as cloacal aperture. Next question. What is the difference between the cutaneous and pulmonary respiration? The difference between the cutaneous and pulmonary respiration. Let us see the answer. This question is coming from the NCERT section 7.2.2. In frog, the respiration takes place via the two means, the skin and the lungs, right? The skin and the lungs. Whereas we see one more type of respiration, that is the buccopharyngeal respiration. But here, according to the question, we are going to discuss about the cutaneous and the pulmonary respiration, right? Okay. So the first type, that is the cutaneous respiration. Cutaneous respiration, where it takes place through the skin surface. It takes place through the skin surface. And why it is taking through the skin surface? Because the skin is very, very thin. And below the thin, the skin is highly vascularized. Highly vascularized means a lot of blood capillaries are present just below the skin. So easily the oxygen could pass through the skin and can dissolve in the blood. And similarly, if the blood is having the carbon dioxide, so that carbon dioxide can pass out through this minute skin, and this carbon dioxide can go to the outer environment. So in this way, the skin is helping in the exchange of gases. Coming to the pulmonary respiration, wherever the term comes, the pulmonary, don't get confused. It is talking about the respiration done by the lungs, right? Pulmonary respiration. And that is why you must have heard about the pulmonary veins and pulmonary artery. Pulmonary veins means the vein that is related to the lung. Okay. From heart, the vein goes to the lung, that is called as pulmonary vein, and the artery that comes from the lungs to the heart, that is vein. Okay, artery and vein. So don't get confused with the pulmonary term that is related to the lung. Next, less efficient. Cutaneous respiration is less efficient. If you compare it with the pulmonary respiration, it is less efficient, right? How much the gaseous exchange take place? They are talking about that 30%, or you can say 20 to 25% respiration can be done with the help of cutaneous type of respiration. And that too at the time of hibernation and estivation. Hibernation and estivation. Because at that time, very less amount of oxygen is required. Whereas in the case of pulmonary respiration, this is more efficient. This is more efficient. Pulmonary respiration is more efficient, right? Okay. If we talk about the supplements, that is main respiration. What is the main respiration? Pulmonary respiration is the main respiration, and this is the supplement to it. When the pulmonary respiration is at the halt, not working, right? At the time of hibernation and hibernation and estivation, at that time, this cutaneous respiration takes the charge, and exchange of gases is done by the cutaneous type of respiration. Whereas in the case of pulmonary respiration, this is the primary mode of respiration in most of the vertebrates. Here you can see the two different types of respiration. The cutaneous respiration, because the skin is having the mucus gland, and mucus makes the skin always moist, right? And this moist skin is helpful for the exchange of gases. Whereas the frog is also having the lungs that leads to the pulmonary respiration. Next question. Special venous connection between the liver and intestine and between the kidney and intestine is found in the frog. What are they called? This question is coming from the NCERT section 7.2.2. Let us see the answer of this question. Hepatic portal system. This is the special venous connection between the liver and intestine. Venous connection. What does this mean? Venous connection. It means that the veins that comes from the intestine are the different digestive system. Digestive system part like stomach, small intestine, large intestine. The veins come from these parts and they join together as a hepatic portal vein. Okay, and this vein enter inside the liver. Wherever the term hepatic comes, it is related to the liver. So this is called as venous connection between the liver and the intestine, right? Another type of portal system that is called as renal portal system. Renal portal system. This is a special venous connection between the kidney and the lower body parts of a frog. From the lower body parts of the frog, many veins comes and unite together and form a vein that is called as renal portal vein. Renal portal vein. And that forms a venous connection. This renal portal vein goes where? It goes to the renal. What is the term renal means? Renal means kidney. It means kidney. So that renal portal vein get enter inside the kidney. So here you can see in the diagram as well. This is the digestive system. You can see the stomach is there, the intestine part, small intestine, then large intestine, right? Okay. So you can see blood capillaries are there and it forms the vein. That is the gastric vein. Gastric vein. And similarly, there are many veins that comes out from the intestine part. Intestine part. And all that join together. You can see here, this gastric and the veins coming from the intestine, they also joins. Coming from the large intestine, they also joins and join and makes one particular vein that is called as hepatic portal vein. Hepatic portal vein. And this portal vein goes where? It get enter inside the liver, right? This is the formation of hepatic portal system. Now see for this renal portal system. This is a sciatic, this is a femoral, right? All the veins coming from the lower parts of the body, they unite together. They unite together and forms the renal portal vein when goes to inside the kidney. They goes inside the kidney. Now, we'll discuss about the short answer type of question. Okay, the first question is here. Frogs are beneficial for the mankind. Justify the statement. How frogs are useful to us. This question is coming from the NCERT section 7.2.2. Let us see the answer of this question. Control insect population by eating them. First thing, they are helpful to humans by controlling the population of the insects, right? Because at the time of rainy season, the insects breed at a very you can say exponential form, right? They increase their number very fast. So to check their population, to check their number, these frogs are helping. They eat these insects and they make their number less. Protect crop from the pest damage, because these insects are eating our crops and making the crops damage, right? The yield reduces every year due to the attack of these insects. So these frogs eat the insects and reduce their number, and in that way they are helping our farmers. Maintain the ecological balance as a part of the food chain and food web. Every organism is important in the food chain and the food web. If any of the organism is removed from the food chain or a food web, the whole ecological balance will be the whole ecological balance will be disrupted, right? So to maintain this ecological balance, every organism should be there at its own position. So frog also got a position in the food chain and a food web. So in that way, they are helping to maintain the ecological balance. Provide food source. Frog legs in some of the cultures, like some of the countries, people, they are eating the frog legs. So they are providing as a food also. So here we can see with the help of diagram the importance of frog. They are used as food for the culture, important role in the culture around the world, medicine, contribution to the human medicine, environment, sustaining healthy environment, science, aiding understanding of the human physiology. Yes, while studying the frog, we can understand how the human internal body could be. And indicators, they are indicating the toxin and environmental changes. Not only this, they are helping in the pest control as well. Next question. Structural organization in animal attains different level as cell organ system. What is missing in this chain? Mention the significance of such an organization. This question is coming from the NCERT section 7.1. Let us see the answer of this question. So, let us see the solution part. Tissue is missing in the given chain. Yes, tissue level of organization is missing in the chain. Structural organization, how it is follow? There is a cellular grade of organization that leads to the formation of tissue and forms the tissue grade of organization. Now, the different tissue unite together to form an organ, forming organ level of organization. And later on, different organs unite together to perform one particular function, and that is called as organ system level of organization, right? So number of cells together form a tissue. Large number of cells of same origin, same type of structure performing one particular function, that is called as tissue. So here you can see with the help of diagram as well, cells, epithelial cell is there, right? And smooth muscle cells, two examples are there. So the tissue they forms epithelial cells, many epithelial cells unite together to form epithelial type of tissue. Similarly, the smooth muscle cells, many smooth muscle cells unite together to form the epithelial tissue, right? And organs they forms. The epithelial tissue is a part of the organ, that is the stomach, also the small intestine. And when we see the system level of organization, you can see here the stomach and the small intestine are the part of the digestive system, right? Number of tissue together form organ, and large number of tissue, different types of tissue in fact, okay? They unite together to form organ. And several organ together forms the organ system, right? Now, what is the significance of this type of organization, that we are having the cellular level of organization, tissue level of organization, right? Organ and organ system. What is the significance of this? It enables the division of labor. A lot of work is there. You divide the work in the different people. And in that way, the efficiency of the work increases while dividing the work, right? So same thing we see in our body organization, and that is called as enable division of labor. Increases efficiency. In this way, when you divide the work, we are having the digestive system, we are having the nervous system, we are having the reproductive system, muscular system, skeletal system. So many systems are there, and they are doing their own work. So in that way, if one system is just doing one work, so they will do that work efficiently. That digestive system will do their work efficiently. Imagine if the digestive system and circulatory system both have to do the functions, then how they can perform? Their efficiency will decrease, right? Allows specialization of function, and also promotes better coordination. So in that way, if they are performing just one single function, so their coordination will also be better. Support complex body function. Our body is very complex, right? Imagine the human body, or even you can imagine the frog body, as we are studying the frog in this particular chapter. So there are so many systems, right? And it makes the body very complex. But still, as they are having the organ level of organization, right? This complexity, the complexity of the body organization, they are having the very complex body, but the functionally it follows in a better way. So it ensures the survival in the diverse environment as well. Next question. Stratified epithelial cells have limited role in secretion. Justify their role in our skin. Stratified epithelium, it is made up of multiple layers of cells. Strata, wherever the term strata is there they are talking about the layers. So one layer, two layer, three layer, multiple layers of cells they are talking about. Bottom layer, the columnar or cuboidal cells. If you see the bottom of this stratified epithelium, then it must be either columnar epithelial cells or cuboidal epithelial cells. Classified as compound epithelium. They are also called as compound epithelium. Now, we are having the keratin, contains the keratin, that is the waterproof protein in outer layers. Our skin is having the keratin. Even hairs are having the keratin. Top layers forms the horny layer, that is the dead cell. And some of the skin, our skin, they are having the dead cells. That is the top layer of the skin. Horny layer sheds periodically due to its friction. So sometime we see that our skin shed off, the dead skins shed off. What is the primary role? Protection against the mechanical and chemical stress. Our body needs protection. Our skin need protection. So that is why there the epithelial becomes arrange themselves in many layers so that they can provide protection mechanically as well as chemically. Limited secretion and absorption function. Here there is limited secretion. The secretion is more inside our body. Secretory cells are more inside our body, and also they leads to the absorption function. Next question. How does a gap junction facilitate intercellular communication? This question is coming from the NCERT section 7.1. Let us see the answer of this question. How does the gap junction facilitate the intercellular communication? So gap junction are the direct channel between the adjacent cell. These are the channels. Okay. You can say there is a connection between these gap junction from one cell to the another. That's adjacent one. And they allow small molecules to pass between the cells. Small molecules, right? They can pass from one cell to the another cell through the channel that is established between the cells. So, structure of gap junction made up of two connexins proteins. So, here you can see these are the flower-like things you can see here. They are the protein that is called as connexus protein. And each connexus has 6 protein subunit. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? This is closed. When they twist, they get open. You can see there a red color opening like things, right? So when they are closed, they are in this form. But when they are open, they are in this form. And through this opening, the molecules can pass from one cell to the another. So this is the connexin protein that is present between two cells like this, you can see, right? So that creates the hydrophilic channel in between the cells. So this is you can see the structure of the gap junction that is present between the two cells. Channel regulated by the gap junction. Controlled by the pH. So this opening of this gap junction, it is maintained by, or you can say controlled by pH. Controlled by calcium ion level. So calcium is very, very important part of this connexus protein. So connexus protein, they required opening. When they want to open, they required calcium ion at that time. Right? Next question. Why are blood, bone and cartilage called connective tissue? Why they are called as connective tissue, right? Let us see the answer. This is very important question. This question is coming from the NCERT section 7.1. Connective tissue provide structural framework and support to organ forming tissue, right? So this connective tissue, like we talked about a type of connective tissue like blood is there, okay, bone is there, cartilage is there, right? So these are the connective tissue that provide structural framework. They form the structure of the body and provide support to the organ forming tissue. Like blood, it is a fluid or the vascular connective tissue that connects organ and transport substances from one place to another. We can see there is a connection between the lungs and the heart through this blood, because blood first time it passes from heart to the lung, and once it get purified there, it is brought back to the heart. So there is this establish a connection between the two different organs. Not only this, different organs that are present inside the body, they are connected to the heart through the channels, through the vessels, right? So this connects organ and transport substances that are important to our body. Nutrients, oxygen, removal of nitrogenous waste material through this blood only, right? So that is why the connection between, right? Connection between the organ, it is done by this blood only. Bone. It is a solid, rigid, and the strong skeletal connective tissue, right? That supports the body and help in the process of locomotion. Cartilage, that is also a skeletal connective tissue. Now, if you see the cartilage, you see your external ear, tip of your nose, these are made up of cartilage. Not only this, every bone edge, every bone, like the ends of the bone, they are covered with the cartilage so that they cannot get rub when we walk, when we run, the bones rub each other, and at that time they can damage the bone. So this cartilage is there that do not allow the bones to get rubbed each other. So cartilage is also a skeletal connective tissue, not as a rigid as bone, but pliable and resist compression. They are not as rigid as we see the bone, but it is not as soft as we see the muscles. It is harder than muscles, but it is softer than the bone. So they are pliable and resist the compression. Present in the where they are present. Now they are talking about where this cartilage is present. See, they are present at the tip of nose, outer ear, and joints as well, right? Next question. What are neurons? Why are neurons called excitable cells? Mention special features of the membrane of the neuron, right? This question is coming from the NCERT section 7.1. Let us see the answer. This was our question. And neurons act as excitable cells. So they generate electrical signal, action potential in response to the stimuli. Once they get stimuli, they create action potential in the form of electrical signals. So they can rapidly change the membrane potential. Once they get excited, they can change the potential of the membrane. Ability to receive, process, and transmit information. So not only they can take the information, okay, but they can transmit the information as well. They are able to transmit the information. So here you can see the neuron cell. One of the neuron cell, the larger part, that is called as cyton or the cell body. And in this, the nucleus of the neuron is present. Now from this cyton part, you can see many branch emerges and it spread all over. These are called as dendrites. These are called as dendrites. And one of the dendrite, it extend more, and that is called as axon. And this axon part, you can see fat-like cells are present in a form of sheath-like covering that is called as myelin sheath. This is the myelinated part, that is a type of fat. And you can see at the end there are axon terminals. Selective permeability to ions. All the ions are not permeable. Only some of the ions are permeable to these cells. So presence of voltage gated ion channel. They are having some voltage based ion channel, sodium, potassium channel. So these channels are present all over the axon and cyton region. Sodium potassium pump maintain ion gradient. So they maintain the gradient. Gradient maintenance is very, very important to transmit the impulse from one axon to the next cell. And this is done by the sodium potassium pump. High concentration of protein channel. They are having this specialized receptor molecule. Some receptors molecules are present at the surface so that they could take the stimulus. Neurotransmitter release sites at the end of the axon terminals, they are having the release of some neurotransmitters, the chemicals based vesicles, and these chemical based vesicles get entered to the next cell. Okay, and here the transmission is done by the chemical signal. So you can see one cell of neuron is placed just to the next one. So the electrical signal passes over one neuron and it changes to the chemical signal. The chemical comes out from the axon terminal in the synapse part and it goes to the next cell. Once this neurotransmitter get entered inside the next cell, the chemical signal transforms into the electrical signal. So in this way, electrical to chemical, the signals are transmitted from one neuron cell to the another neuron cell. So dense clustering of ion channels at a specific region and ability to maintain the resting membrane potential. So to get fresh action potential, first of all, there should be maintenance of the resting membrane potential. Next question. Frog is a poikilotherms, exhibit camouflage and undergoes estivation and hibernation. How are all these benefit to it? How all these things provide benefit to the frog? This question is coming from the NCERT section 7.2. So let us see the answer. Adaptation is a trait that helps organism to survive through the natural selection. As you all know, the frog is poikilotherms, cold-blooded. It cannot regulate the body temperature. So they have to adjust according to the environment. They cannot do like we are able to maintain our body temperature, right? In the summer, in the winter, rainy season, any season you can see our body temperature is maintained, right? But think about the frog. They are not having such a system, right? So they have to adapt according to the changing environment. And that leads to the natural selection as well. Let us see the answer. Poikilothermy saves energy but not maintaining constant body temperature. Being poikilotherm, it can save the energy in that at the time of hibernation, at the time of estivation, right? What happened? They reduces the metabolic activity and it saves their energy. Why to waste the energy to maintain their body temperature? They do not do that. They go for sleep. Okay. And in this way, they are not involved in maintaining their constant body temperature. Adapt to environment temperature efficiently. They adapt. They make out their own way to adapt how to deal with the environment, how to deal with this low temperature, how to deal with this high temperature. They can deal. They can go for estivation at the time of summer when there is no water, when there is no food. So they go for sleep, estivation, minimize their metabolic activity, respire through the cutaneous respiration, right? Require less food for the survival. See, and when there is a rainy season, they'll eat a lot. They eat a lot and they store a lot of fat substances in their body. And when there is a scarcity of food, that fat will be utilized at that time for producing energy. Camouflage. So blends with the surroundings and protect themselves from the predators. Predators eat them. So they blend because they are having the olive green skin, right? So they go to that, sit at that place where the environment is also olive green. So in that way, they hide themselves, right? And protect themselves from the predators. Help in hunting prey. And this is also adapt to hunt the prey. So the prey cannot see them, right? Estivation and hibernation. Survive extreme temperature. They can survive in the extreme temperatures. conserve energy during the food scarcity, and reduces water loss during the dry conditions. Enable survival during the unfavorable environment condition as well. So this is all about today's session. Thank you very much for attending today's session. We will meet again, same time. So please take care and goodbye.